So welcome. Today we're going to do a little video on how to compile Verilog files, and we're going to use a program called ModelSim. ModelSim is a really popular program from a company called Mentor Graphics. If you want to get more information to it, you can go to a website, hopefully www.mentor.com. They have some really great information about it. Specifically, you can go to www.model.com, and that gives you specific information about ModelSim, which is owned by Mentor Graphics, and it's a really great program. So we're going to learn a little bit about that today. So let's try to work on that today. So we're going to do this actually in a Linux environment, but you can actually do it in any environment that you actually want. We're going to actually show you how to set it up later in other videos in the Windows environment, but for right now we're just going to show in the Linux environment. It's no different. The only difference in the Windows environment is that you typically do that in the actual command prompt. And here you just do it in the terminal. So it's the same really thing. So really I have a window here, which is a directory where I have all my files called Simon. I can list and you can see all the files that I have in here. Everything is inside of here, no problem. And let's say I want to use ModelSim. Now, two things that you have to do before you use ModelSim. So the first thing you have to do is you have to tell where it actually exists, or where the program resides. If you do not do this, it won't be able to run. For example, if I type a program, I type run program. If it can't find it, it'll say command not found. So you have to be able to set that up, and the way you set that up in any environment, in any operating systems, it could be your cell phone, your printer, your Linux environment, your PC, whatever it is you have to set the path, which is PATH. That's the path, and you have to set that up. Again, we'll do another video on how to set that up in Windows because that's most popular. But one of the ways you can tell is type VLOG at the prompt, and if you get a response that looks like this, it's set up correctly. Now, fortunately, I set it up correctly here, so you actually see it works. But let's say I open the terminal again, and I go over here to the directory where I existed before. I type VLOG to the file and hit enter, and you can see it says command not found. So that's a great way that you can tell it's not set up. So I'm going to just set it up with my script, and I type VLOG, and you can see I get this little verbose response. Okay, now the second thing that you have to do, which is a highly recommended, is add a file into your directory. It's called ModelSim.ini. Most people will just pronounce that ModelSim.ini. Ini is just a sort of how it sounds in the English language. It really is an information file for ModelSim. If you don't have it, don't worry. ModelSim provides it for you. Where is it provided? It's usually in the directory where it's installed, and you can actually ask somebody who's installed your program, or inside maybe your path, it'll tell you where it's installed. I'm just going to show you here where it's set up. This is the directory where I installed ModelSim. You can see it's right here. So just copy that to your current working directory, and you're all set up. So make sure you have the ModelSim.ini in there, and everything is all set to go in your path. Now, before you begin, ModelSim has to have a location to save all your files. Now, I've been doing ModelSim or using ModelSim for at least 15 years, and I tell you with a high amount of certainty is that most people will install it or have a directory called work. I highly recommend using work. Don't use another name. So to set that up, you just type VLAB WORK or work and hit enter, and that's it. If it already exists, it'll tell you, but if it doesn't exist, you can type it again, and you can see it'll set it up, and if you take a listing of the directory, there it is. So we're all set. We're all ready to go, and we want to see that our ModelSim file actually works. Now, there are two parts to a Verilog file. The first part is making sure that it's syntactically correct. That's making sure you don't have any errors in the way it's set up, you compiled it correctly or used the language correctly. And I highly recommend doing this first before simulating. That's the second part. And simulating is making sure that your file actually works. So before you actually get to simulate it, make sure you compile it. And you can compile it by VLOG and then the name of the file that we're going to compile. The file we're going to compile is called mux81.sv or mux21.sv, sorry. You can see it right down here. And you just hit enter, and hopefully you'll get that it worked correctly. Now, I made a mistake, and I actually misspelled it. It's mux81 or mux21.sv. So let me do that again. And you can see it compiled. It says it compiled that file. It's using ModelSim 2012.11. That's the version. The November 2012, that was the version number. And here's the top level hierarchy of your Verilog file. Now, if you have an error in your file, so let me pull up the file, mux21.sv in my editor, that's right over here. And let me just make an error. I'm just going to make, instead of saying assign, I'm just going to say y assigned, which is actually incorrect, and there's no such thing. So I'm going to recompile it, just type vlog mux21.sv. You can see that I get an error, and it does try to tell you where the error is. Now, it won't always tell you exactly what the error is, but it does a decent job of trying. I wish I could tell you that it tells you exactly what the error is, but it won't tell you that. So you just have to kind of know what the error is by looking at it just from experience and go back and say, hey, now I'm going to compile the file. Now, in Verilog, what's really great about Verilog is that usually you use hierarchy, and hierarchy is a key element in digital logic that allows you to create one logic part from another logic part. For example, mux21 is a lower level part that I can actually use in a part called mux81.sv, and you can see that I instantiated it a couple different times to use this. Now, if I want to compile that, I have to make sure first I compile mux21.sv, and then I compile this version here. Now, there's two ways of doing it. The first one is to compile mux21.sv, make sure it's okay, and then compile mux81.sv. And you can see it did them both. Now, if you're very sure that you type both of them in correctly, and you want to compile them both at the same time, you can type vlog mux81.sv, mux21.sv, all in the same line. It'll tell you that it compiled both files, and it tells you the top level hierarchy. In this case, mux81 is the top level hierarchy. In that case, it is because it uses mux21 here. So that concludes our first video tutorial. Hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for some more. Have a great day.